Kronologic is a automated scheduling platform backed by AI where instead of let's take an easy example. Today, a demo request gets submitted and you trigger off a call and email sequence to a rep to go get a hold of the person as fast as you can.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Scott Logan, Chief Marketing Officer at Kronologic. How are you doing today, Scott?
Good. How you doing?
I am good, thank you. Appreciate you taking some time with us. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and about Kronologic.
Yeah, so Scott Logan, CMO of Kronologic, and basically my career started in demand gen in the ops side with my first marketing operations job, and then worked my way into campaign management on the demand gen side, and then leading teams for everything from startups like now to publicly traded companies, and have kind of been in the contact center customer service industry and the sales engagement industry as well. So everything customer facing essentially is where my career has been.
Excellent. And tell us a little bit about Kronologic and what they do.
Yeah, so Kronologic is a automated scheduling platform backed by AI where instead of let's take an easy example. Today, a demo request gets submitted and you trigger off a call and email sequence to a rep to go get a hold of the person as fast as you can. The problem with that is that leaves a lot of room for those leads to fall out. And I've been, selling services or software that does that sequencing for a good chunk of time. And when I was looking for something different or new to enhance our motion with our own software, I decided to try something out that I'd heard of called Kronologic, where it just, in any scenario, whether it be a trade show booth, a case study download, or a demo request, cross-sell, upsell, you're just sending a tailored invite to someone, and all they have to do is hit accept. The AI kicks in when maybe 20 to 30% of the time we don't predict when the person's available right out the gate. It will read the response of sounds great, Thursday at 3 works better. It'll read that, update the invite automatically, and then send an email from the rep saying Thursday at 3 looks great. And then you never miss a beat because that all happens from the rep's inbox, from the rep's calendar, and they can see the transition that entire time. So you can actually do this right now on your own without even using the Kronologic software. On our website, in the resources, there's a do-it-yourself blueprint guide on how to do this, which is how I ran my own pilot without the software when I was being sold Kronologic and I was at a different company. And so if you want to know the blueprint on what should the agenda look like, there's an awesome customer that had, or prospective customer, they're in the motion, who says no agenda, no attenda. So it matters. Yeah. And then what to put in the email, how to phrase it, because it is a little bit different wording, but all that's there in a blueprint version for you to go ahead and implement yourself right now and just try it out. I mean, if you have a demo request, if you have a ghosted meeting, if you have a renewal call, something of that nature, give it a shot and just see how much faster you can get those meetings, because it's all about speed. Jay Bear talks about on my podcast episode with him how speed is the main differentiator. So many products are so similar, so many services are so similar that it's the response from the company that's really going to make the difference. And this aligns directly to that.
Excellent. So your AI is reading email responses. Does it actually go into calendars and check people's availabilities, cross-check on both ends of the equation as well? Or
so it's all based off of the rep who is trying to book the meeting when they're available. Yeah. And then our AI, it learns when to propose a meeting based on the availability and the restrictions that you have for that campaign. So for instance, if it's a demo request, you're going to want to propose that meeting for 0 to 2 days out. If it's a trade show, people won't be in the office till next week. So maybe you don't start proposing times until, maybe 4 days later when everyone's back in the office. That way they have time to reset, but you still get that immediate traction right then and there by prompting that invite, or with a lesser touch, maybe it's content, you can then still use the Kronologic email where it proposes a time with the calendar at the top of the email, and they can just click accept. So you get the email that delivers the content. And then if you want to have that follow-up meeting, say you downloaded a case study or an assessment or something like that, you can then just click accept or respond with the time that does work right at that moment when you're engaging with the content. And that's the main point, is you're engaging with them with that follow-up ask at the time that you're having the conversation, or they are paying attention to you, not when they've moved on later in the day or the next day and they forgot they already did that.
Yeah, that's an important tether to solidify. That's a great service. What's the origin story of Kronologic? How long they've been in business?
Yeah, so we've been in business 3 or 4 years, and it started where our founders, 2 of them were working at VMware, and they thought of this idea. They homegrown built it at VMware and called it VBot, and they were able to double their pipeline and their more than double the pipeline and double the revenue based on this motion. Now, they were doing it more manually with just a homegrown built script. And when they saw the success from it, and their team became the most successful team and people were getting promoted, they thought, well, let's get permission to then just go build this and sell it. So built-in customer with VMware, and then that industry have such large sales teams and services so many products or sells so many products that it really enhances the scalability. And so CDW became a customer shortly after that, and we have hundreds of reps getting meetings booked for them at any given time, and about 2,400 reps on the platform total that campaigns are ran for. But it also works for smaller companies like ourselves where we don't have a huge SDR team, and this basically acts as our SDR team. So you can either enhance your team with it, or you can use it as the SDR depending on your motions.
Excellent. And what sort of clients, what verticals are you servicing these days?
A lot of IT, software, hardware, that type of stuff. Obviously, they're more bleeding edge on wanting to get new technology, and their competitors are super aggressive and leading edge as well. So in those areas where you're wanting to push the limits or do something new, it works really well. But then on the non-enterprise side, when you have maybe a small team, less than 10 or 5, or maybe even less than that, you don't have the resources to go hire a bunch of people. So we can say, all right, let's stop wasting time having your sales reps chase people down who said, yes, I want a demo, or yes, I want a quote, or yes, let's investigate services. Let's actually just put those meetings on the calendar, and then the time can be freed up for those people to do the more strategic campaigns that don't have the hand raisers, where you do need to do a lot of that work.
Excellent. And what makes you guys stand out from your competition?
The main thing that makes us stand out is just being more proactive with those people and creating a better buying experience for people who want to meet with you. And there's some kind of inbound motion, there's an engagement, and you're not just sending an email that has a link to then have the buyer click the link after they find the email, if they find it, open up 2 calendars, go back and forth to find a time for the rep. So you're asking the buyer to do all the work of finding a time. And then oftentimes there's a form at the end of it. And a lot of our customers come to us saying, hey, we've been using this calendar link motion for so long or for a while now, and we get abandonment in that process. We're not getting the conversions we want. People aren't finding a time, or maybe if the form is after the time, they find the time, but then they don't want to fill out a form. Sometimes people are even saying in their workflows, they have to fill out the form, pick a time, And then because the integrations aren't seamless, fill out the form again. You're
Mhm.
definitely going to see huge abandonment rates
Sure.
if you have them fill out a form again. So unlike the calendar automation that's out there today, that still has a huge chunk of the calendaring and finding a time done by the buyer, this takes not only the reps efficiency that's already there, but it adds that efficiency to the buyer side. So no one really has to do a lot of work to get that meeting booked when two folks are looking to have a discussion about the services that they want to buy or already have.
Hey, that's an impressive tool. If you can shorten the time it takes or the attention span it takes for a person to continue engagement with you, that's win-win across the board.
Yeah.
All right, put on your marketing hat. Tell me about what role content has played in the growth of Kronologic.
Yep. So this has been more dependent on the content than any other place that I've been at. When I was in the contact center industry, that contact center technology of press one for this, press two for this, or routing to the right contact center agent, that had been around for a while. And there was really nothing that you were trying to educate people on. Similarly here with sales engagement software in the sales software space, the same motion has been ran since the early 2010s, where you just get some people into or leads into a queue and you email them and find the right sequence or the right cadence to be able to get a connect as fast as possible. And with this new process, we're having to use our content to train on these different use cases that are going to be most enhanced by sending an invite. Don't use it against cold, but use it against these inbound requests of all different sorts. And that's where we're really having to change people's minds. And a lot of times just reading something isn't going to do it. So we're having to say, here's our case studies for the more traditional content, but then here's also some videos. We've taken the satirical view to, making fun of the podcast I run is called Making Fun of Marketing. We kind of poke fun at the stupid things that we do that just mess up the buyer experience. But on the rep side, it's seamless. Okay, who cares? The buyer doesn't care that the rep's experience is great. They're still having to do all this work. They're still having to wait for phone calls. They're still having to find the time to book on their own. And so changing people's mindset to say, yes, you built your business over the last 10 years and your sales team and marketing team strategy on this because that was all that was available. But there's a better way. And oftentimes it takes a lot of education to get people into that mindset.
Sure. That makes complete sense. I would think that the COVID years have kind of played into your business model as people scatter and work more remotely. Getting everybody to schedule has become more and more of a nightmare. Tell me about how you've been able to grow the business in the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, I'll even rewind on that a little bit too. That's how I found Kronologic. Is I was looking for a way to better engage with people because everyone was remote and it was way harder to find people's phone numbers. The main way we were getting a hold of people at the time, I wasn't at Kronologic, was through the phone. But now with so much remote work, you could get emails, but that didn't get as high of a response. And if you got a response, it wasn't as easy to carry on a conversation, obviously, as if you're on the phone with someone. So I discovered this and found when I experimented with it about 5 different use cases that I tried out. It was case studies, ghosted demos, webinars, trade shows, and account-based lists. And the lowest improvement I saw with this process, even using it without the software, just saying, hey, here's 24 leads, each SDR got one use case, and they went after them with that list that we gave them. The lowest success we had was a double the increase in conversion rate. And I thought, whoa, this is amazing. So I went back and had the contract call with Kronologic, and instead of saying, hey, let's buy this, it was so transformational for me for being almost 5 years in the contact center or in the sales software space that I thought this is transformational. This is something new and different, and it works. It works really well. So I said, I'm not buying Kronologic. CROs jaw dropped after I shared my results. He goes, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I need you to hire me as your marketing manager because, or your marketing leader, because this is going to change the way we do marketing, and I got to be a part of it." And so, a couple months later, here we are, running marketing for about 2.5 years now at Kronologic.
Nicely done, sir.
Yeah,
That's a pretty good pivot. You sold the salesperson. Very nice.
exactly.
All right. Well, hey, look in your crystal ball a year from now. What's something you'd like to be celebrating personally or professionally?
Yeah, I think what I want to be celebrating is that this is a motion that people do. And, it seems weird to say, have everybody do it. And I hope everybody does it with an integration that we have of Kronologic into your CRM or your other sales software like Outreach or what have you. But I think the more awareness we generate on this tactic, it's going to make the buying and selling cycle so much easier. And we'll be doing less educating on the tactic and more educating on all the best practices that we are sharing and our customers are developing and we're developing and sharing with everybody else on the better ways to do this. Because there's a few different forms that this can take. There's even a less assertive way where if you're delivering a low intent piece of content, you just deliver that email. So that has the proposed time. There's lots of different flavors and points in the sale. And I want to be educating on that. I want to be educating on the refinement of this, because as a buyer, I dreaded the days I had to buy a software, fill out 3 forms, and then I just do this.
So
and I sit back,
Yep.
and I wait for emails, and I wait for calls, and I got to answer every cold call that I get because it might be the one that I wanted. And then I get stuck 20 minutes into a conversation I don't want to have, or have to be rude and cut them off so I can get back to work because I thought it was one of the companies that I was trying to talk to. So I want us just to know this is the better way.
Hey, it really does sound like a no-brainer. Frankly, I'm going to look into it for what I do here.
Nice. Excellent.
Please tell everyone what your URL is, where they can find Kronologic, and what social media outlets you're using these days.
Yeah, you can find us at kronologic.com, and you can, that's with a K, KRONOLOGIC.com. And we have a pretty active LinkedIn page. I have a really active LinkedIn page that shares content about this. And we have that podcast, Making Fun of Marketing, that you can find on Spotify or Apple Podcasts as well.
Excellent. Scott Logan of Kronologic, thank you for what you do. You're obviously enabling a lot of people to thrive out there, and I appreciate it. I wish you and yours and Kronologic all the best. Thanks for spending some time with us on Business Ninjas.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.